Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachawadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to the elect. This is Brother Lawyer from Great Millstone, Miami. And what I want to entitle this lesson is Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body. Okay, going into the promises of the kingdom, all right, which is something that the Spirit has been heavy, to speak about lately amongst the brethren. Hey man, we got many promises to look forward to, and that's why we got to endure. In the face of what we go through, what we have been through as a nation, and what we're getting ready to embark, upon in Jacob's trouble, as far as persecutions and all the perilous things that are to happen, man. All right. Hey, in spite of all those things, and in the face of all those things, we have much to hope for, which that word hope means to expect. Much to fight for, much to strive for, much to attain. And one of those many exceeding great and precious promises, as Peter said it, in his epistles. All right. How we have many exceeding great and precious promises. One of them is the blessing of many children. Okay. All right, many little ones. The Lord promised Abraham that he would multiply his seed as the stars of heaven. Okay, it is written in the book of Deuteronomy how the Lord would bless the fruit of our body. So, which is going into, what they call having children. Okay, which just goes to show you that it's going to be sex in the kingdom and childbirth, and it's going to be men and women and, all of that in the kingdom. All right, but it's going to be to a perfected state. Okay, and not only are we going to have many children, we're going to have thousands upon millions upon billions of children. Okay, of little ones, and they're going to be able to live on earth safely. Okay, without danger of being kidnapped or harmed. Okay, all right, they're going to have status, and they're going to come into the great inheritance of the Israelites. Okay, all right, and that's something beautiful. The Wadi Bashim Shai, for the great favor that He has promised us and that He has for us, in this story of His, okay, which is the greatest story ever told. All right. So with that being said, I want to start here with Hebrews chapter 6, verse 13, and Lord willing, this video is edifying. Okay. Now it says, matter of fact, I'll start at verse 11. It says, and we desire that every one of you do shew the same diligence to the full of assurance of hope unto the end, which again, the word hope means to expect. So we have to continue to remain consistent and fervent in this thing. Okay, all the way up until the end, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. And that's why it's important to endure. That's why it's important to be diligent. That's why it's important to have faith unto the end, because at the end of it all, we're going to inherit the promises. Okay. All right, verse 13, it says, for when Yahweh made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. Okay. All right. And so, hey, there you go, man. Yahweh himself made promise unto Abraham. Okay. All right. And hey, we know that the Lord could not swear by anyone greater than himself. He made an oath to Abraham. All right. And we know that the Lord cannot lie, man. Okay. And part of the promise was that the Lord would multiply and bless Abraham. Okay. Even though Abraham, at the time he didn't have any heir that came out of his loins, and his wife Sarah was barren. Okay. All right. The promise was made and it's going to be received. Okay. Which is why he had Isaac. Okay. Who in turn had Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. All right. Who was the father of the 12 patriarchs. Okay. Of whom came the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay. Who became as a multitude of nations, who became as the sand of the sea, as it is this day. Okay. All right. And so, hey, that promise is not going to fail, even though we do know that the majority of our people are going to pass on this side, they're going to die because of their wickedness. Okay. And only a remnant is going to be saved. All right. Out of that remnant is going to spring forth, a multitude. Okay. All right. Out of that remnant is going to spring forth, the rest of the nation of Israel coming back, man. Okay. All right. And hey, that's something to look forward to. That's something that the Lord promised us as an inheritance. Okay. All right. A large and prosperous and fruitful nation. Okay. All right. Now, I did want to go to Hebrews chapter 11, just to back it up. Okay. All right. It says in Hebrews 11, going into Abraham again, verse 8, it says, by faith, Abraham, when he was called out to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed and went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs of him of the same promise, for he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is the Most High. All right, so which Abraham at the time, he understood that the promise that the Lord promised him was not for the time that was at hand. He understood that it was for a future time period. Okay, all right, and even in this time, the promises have not been attained to. Okay, all right, but they will be attained because it's for the kingdom of heaven. Okay, the promises that the Lord promised Abraham is not for this time. Okay, all right, it's for the future time, for the kingdom that we read about in Isaiah, that we read about in Revelation, that we read about in Jeremiah, etc. Okay, verse 11, it says, through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Okay, and it says, therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore, innumerable. Okay, all right. So, hey, that's part of the promises, man. Okay, which the nation of Israel. Don't get it wrong. The nation of Israel is a large and fruitful nation now. Okay, all right. The 12 tribes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and all you Israelites that are scattered abroad, you West Indians and you Haitians. Okay, all right. We are a prosperous nation. Okay, as far as being fruitful and actually having children. Okay, is what I mean. Okay, having little ones. Okay, Jake be having families and big families at that. You know, all right. And hey, as I said before, the wicked of our people are going to pass on this side, but even with the remnant, that's still going to be a very great multitude, as is prophesied in Revelation. That great multitude, out of all the nations, kindreds, and peoples and tongue, which is talking about the Israelites scattered abroad. Okay, and from that remnant is going to spring forth abundantly. Okay, all right, fruitfulness. Okay, being fruitful and multiplying. Yes, we're going to have sex in the kingdom. Yes, we're going to have large families in the kingdom. All right, the Bible talks about how a little one shall become 1,000. Okay, all right, and it's going to be so prosperous and so plentiful and so fruitful is what I mean, is the word that I'm looking for. So fruitful. Okay, all right, that we're going to be as abundant as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable, which is in alignment, okay, again, with the promise that the Lord made with Abraham, our Genesis chapter 15. And um Abraham, man, Abraham had faith, man. All right, Abraham had faith. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 15, verse 3. It says, and Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in mine house is mine heir. Okay, all right, because Abraham, he was, Abram, he was up in age, and he had Eliezer of Damascus, who was, who was his servant, of his house, the steward of his house, and he was like, well, Lord, you didn't give me no seed. I still haven't had any, any heirs, and I do have this servant. Let him be my heir, All right, but the Lord was like, nah. Okay, which goes to show you that it's for a specific bloodline of people. Because if it was for everybody and anybody, why didn't the Lord choose Eliezer of Damascus? And Eliezer of Damascus was a faithful servant unto Abraham. Okay, all right. So why didn't the Lord just be like, you right? Verse 4. All right, it says, and behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. Okay, which we know that in Isaac shall the Lord's seed be, shall Abraham's seed be called. Okay, so even though this promise was made to Abraham, all right, it wasn't unto Ishmael or the children of Keturah. It was unto Isaac, man, because in Isaac shall thy seed be called. That is how Abraham's lineage was reckoned, was through Isaac, and then from Isaac unto Jacob. Okay, which is why the scriptures always call the Most High the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Okay, The water Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. Okay, he has shown his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nations, and as for their judgments, they have not known him. Praise ye the Lord, man. Okay, in verse 5 it says, and he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars. And tell the stars, which means number the stars. The Lord brought him abroad into the open field, man. Okay, all right, at night. Okay, mind you, it wasn't no street lights back then. Okay, all right, wasn't no light pollution as they call it. Okay, all right, and so which means that when he looked up at the heavens, he could clearly see the cosmos as they call it. Okay, the different constellations and stars in abundance. All right, which there are certain places on Earth where you can still do that. You can go out into the wilderness, into the forest, into the mountains, into different parts of the world. Okay, into the desert, and where ain't no light pollution from the cities, and you can see at night the abundance of the multitude of the stars, man. And it's beautiful. Okay. All right. It says, look now toward heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. Okay, so the Lord promised Abraham that his seed shall be as abundant as the stars of heaven. That is, I mean, wow. Okay, going to show you the power of the Lord, man. How he can take something small, okay, how he can make a little out of a lot, man. Okay, how he can bring life, out of a lifeless situation, man. And that's a theme that's repeated throughout, the scriptures, man. Okay, all right, going all the way back to Genesis, it was darkness and the earth was void and without form, and water covered the face of the deep, and the spirit of the powers moved upon the face of the waters, and the Lord said, let there be light. God said, let there be light. The Elohim said, let there be light, and there was light. The Lord is just so he's just so raw. He's just so dope, man. Okay, and then we see here in Abraham's situation, he's an elderly man, pushing 100. Okay, all right, still without seed, man, and the Lord promised him, that he was gonna multiply. He was gonna give him seed, okay, and multiply his seed as the stars of heaven. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness, man. All right, so Abraham believed, and that is what imputed Abraham righteous, as a just and righteous man, because he believed in what the Lord told him. All right, in spite of the contradictory nature of what was happening to him in the flesh at the time, which was the fact that he didn't have an heir and that his wife was barren for so long. Okay. All right. Now, I did just want to look this up, which, this is just Esau's so-called science and approximations and estimations, but I did think it was interesting to bring out, I typed in how many stars are there, okay, which again, this is just Esau's, his it's just him talking, all right, and the scriptures already tell you he can't measure the heavens and he can't search out the heavens and the earth beneath, all right, but I did want to just bring this out, because I thought it was interesting, something that said, that I found, but it says, using the Milky Way as our model, we can multiply the number of the stars typically in a typical galaxy, 100 billion by the number of galaxies in the universe, 2 trillion, which is, again, this is Esau just talking. All right, it says the answer is an absolutely astounding number. There are approximately, okay, which that's another way of Esau saying he don't know, okay, but let's go with it. 200 billion trillion stars in the universe. Okay, now this is why the Lord said, in my Father's house are many mansions, which mansions means dwelling places, going into these different planets. Okay, this is why the scriptures say that the greatness of the kingdom and the dominion under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, because we're going to have to explore. We're going to have to branch out from just living on earth. Okay, because the Lord promised us that we would be as the stars of heaven. Okay, in multitude. I mean, so we're gonna have to be living on these different planets. That's why we need new bodies, man. Okay, and we believe these things by faith, man. Okay, we believe these things by faith, man. All right, which faith was imputed unto Abraham for righteousness. Now, now I did also find something else. This is again another quote from astronomy.com. It says, are there more stars than grains of sand? It says the numbers are pretty much matched. Okay, which again, the Lord, likened Abraham's seed unto the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. Okay, all right, which means that it's ranging in the billions. Okay, all right, it's ranging in the multitude of billions and trillions, man. Okay, all right, hundreds of billions of trillions. Okay. All right, now again, linking this up with a precept, just to go find a precept on it. All right, Genesis chapter 24, verse 60. All right, and this is a Rebecca receiving a blessing, okay, all right, of her household. Okay, her parents blessed her. You know, the people of her household blessed her before she went to go meet with Isaac and marry Isaac, right? It says, and they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, thou art our sister, be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those that hate, which hate them. Okay, all right, which again, this is a promise unto the Israelites, man. Okay, all right, how they would be multiplied, okay, in the future, all right, in great abundance, and that's something that is going to be fulfilled ultimately in the kingdom. Okay, thousands of millions. What is thousands of millions? What is 1,000 times a million? 1,000 times a million, okay, is a billion. Okay, and that's just 1,000 times 1 million. But the scripture says thousands, which means multiple thousands. Okay, and of millions, which means multiple millions. Okay, so it could range in the billions upon billions. Okay, all right. Okay, because what if you type what? So you could say 100,000 or 200,000 or 999,000. Okay, all right, times 100 million or 200 million. You know, and then multiply it, and that's how it would, whatever the number would be, it is, man. Okay, and this is a promise that the Lord promised us. We look forward to. Now in this world, it's a burden to have children. Okay, this world is set up where it's a burden to have children. People are coerced to terminating, pregnancies. Okay, our children are not safe. Okay, you have children, it's just like another expense. As much as we love children, and Jay gonna have children regardless. Okay, all right. When we were in Egypt, being afflicted, we multiplied anyway. Okay, all right. But in the kingdom, those things are not going to be a problem. Okay, those things are not going to be the case, man. It's going to be a joy to have children, multiple children. It's going to be a joy, to be fruitful and multiply and have seed, everywhere. Okay, all right, coming into inheritances of the kingdom of heaven, new bodies, immortality, spiritual power. Okay, all right, riches and honor. Okay, all right, a name, renown. All right, now Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. All right, it says, and it shall come to pass that if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. One of the ways that promise is going to be fulfilled is by the Lord multiplying our nation more than all the other nations. Okay, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Okay, which the laws are going to be written into us. We're going to be perfect. Okay, we're not going to be sinful anymore. We're not going to have iniquities anymore. So we're going to obey the Lord completely, which means that all these blessings will cleave unto us. All right, they shall come upon us and overtake us. Okay, blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Okay, all right, the fruit of thy body going into what? Children, okay, little ones, okay, all right, sons and daughters, okay, having a lot of babies, if you will, okay, a lot of infants, okay, ain't gonna be no barren woman in the kingdom, all right, of the nation of Israel, woman that can, that's barren. Nah, none of that. Ain't gonna be no miscarriages. Ain't gonna be no abortions. Ain't gonna be no stillborns. Okay, all right, no terminated pregnancies. None of that. Okay, none of that in the kingdom. No. Okay, and then on top of that, our little ones are gonna grow and live prosperous and abundant lives, man. Okay, and honorable lives. They're gonna be known as the seed that the Lord hath blessed, and their offspring with them. Okay, all right. This is Psalm chapter 144 and 11. Okay, 144. It says, "Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood." Okay, all right. Who are the strange children? The heathen, beginning with Esau. Okay, who is the hurtful sword. okay, of the Lord, okay? And we need to be rid of these people, man. We need to be delivered, from these people, man. Okay? All right, cuz in this world, they kidnap children, it's pedophilia and sex trafficking, child trafficking, children going missing, they pushing all type of folly on the children. Okay, and cartoons teaching them Satanism and witchcraft and abominable sexual acts, man. Okay, all right, immorality, impurity in the schools, in the books, man. All right, teaching them that it's okay to Dr. Frankenstein their privy parts, and that's fucked up, man. Okay, that's messed up. That's all types of wrong, man. Okay, all right, this is why we got to be saved from these people, man. Okay, Psalm 144:10 it says, "For you grant victory to kings. You rescue David, your servant David, from the fatal sword. Save me. Rescue me from the power of mine enemies, whose their mouths are full of lies. They swear to tell the truth, but they lie instead." Okay. All right. Going back to the King James Version, it says, verse 12, that our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as cornerstones polished after the similitude of a palace, man. Okay. Our children are going to grow up and prosper and be beautiful and be honorable, an honorable plant. Okay. A noble seed. Okay. Not degenerate, man. Like we are taught to be in this world, man. Degenerate GMO babies, man. Okay. All right. They teach our little daughters to be whores, man. They teach our sons to lack restraint and discipline. Okay, to be murderers and violent and adulterers and homosexuals, all types of madness, man. Okay, that's gonna be done away in the kingdom, man. You know, our children not being esteemed. Oh my God, man. Hey, man, our children are gonna grow up on a level, man. Being growing up intelligent, having the true knowledge of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, understanding true science, okay, true history, you know, being on a level, being of noble stock. That's what we are. We are noble stock, man. Okay. All right. Verse 12 again in the NLT, it says, "May our sons flourish in their youths like well nourished plants. May our daughters be like graceful pillars carved to beautify a palace," man. Okay. Our sons are going to be well nurtured. Okay. Strong, healthy. Okay. Not sickly. Okay. Our daughter's going to be the same way. Noble. All right. Princess like, elegant, having decorum and grace about themselves, man. You know, that being the true aristocracy, man, of the earth, as we had ought to have been from the beginning. Okay? All right. All right. It says, verse 13, that our garners may be full. All right, which is going into our storehouses. Okay, let's get that word garners. Okay. I'm gonna be broke no more. Gonna be broke, Garner. Okay, the word garner is basically where you gather. Okay. All right. A garner, to gather or collect something, especially information or approval, to store. Okay. All right. To gather, to collect, to accumulate, to lay up, to lay by, to stow away, to stockpile, to reserve, to save. Okay. All right. We're going to have much abundance in our storehouses, man. Okay. Much gold and silver and wheat and corn and wine and all of those things, fruits. Okay. That our garners may be full, affording all manner of store, that our sheep may bring forth thousands and tens of thousands in our streets, that our oxen may be strong to labor, that there be no breaking in nor going out, that there be no complaining in our streets, man. Okay, and in this setup that we're in, we can't have these things, man, because we're under the hands of our enemies, and every time Jake has tried, Esau gonna come and try to ruin it. The thief cometh not but to steal and to kill and but to destroy, man. Okay, verse 15 it says, "Happy is that people that is in such case, yea, happy is that people whose God is the Lord," which that people is the Israelites, man. All right, yeah, I wish I came that we might have life and that we might have it more abundantly. Okay, let's let me see, go to that NLT. Just want to look at it real quick. That NLT. All right, it says, verse 13, may our barns be filled with every crop, with crops of every kind. May the flocks of our fields multiply by the thousands, even tens of thousands. And may our oxen be loaded down with produce. May there be no breaking, any be breaking through our walls, no going into captivity, no cry of alarm in our town squares. It's gonna be at peace, man. Yea, joyful are those who live like this. Joyful in these are those whose God is the Lord, which again, that's the Israelites, okay? All right. Um, Zechariah chapter 8, verse 4, it says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and young and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age. Okay. All right. Basically having that, those rods of iron. Okay. Which those scepters represent status. Okay. All right. It says, and the streets of Jerusalem, the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Okay. All right, which I wanted to bring this out, just going into how in the kingdom our little ones are going to be safe. You're going to be able to let them go out and play at any time. Go explore the earth. Go go and grow and expand. Expand. Man, our children, man. you know, which Israelite children are different, okay, than the heathen children just by default, okay, but hey, they're gonna, be able to go out there and invent things and, explore, and have their own land and inheritance and, set up their own enterprises and industries, invent new things, okay, all right, delegate, have servants and handmaids, but be bosses, man, and be safe. All right, nobody trying to snatch them up and put their face on a milk carton or nothing like that. No drive-by shootings and shit. Okay, no being oppressed. Okay, disadvantaged. All right, Isaiah 65 and verse 17, it says, for behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. Okay, so we're going to be happy in the kingdom, okay? The joy that was set before Yahushai. All right, it says, and I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people, and the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. All right, so ain't gonna be no sad crying, Jake always crying, Judah mourneth, the gates thereof languish, they are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem gone up. Okay, ain't gonna be no blues in the kingdom, man. Jake always sad, always crying. Nah, that's gonna be a thing of the past. Okay, all right, we're gonna be happy, we're gonna be joyful, singing, rejoicing, praising. Okay, there shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. So no more stillborns, no more children dying young. Okay, all right, we're gonna be living long and prosperous lives. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. Which basically going into how in the kingdom 100 years old is still gonna be considered young. Okay, all right, and they shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. Okay, they shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, the Israelites, and their offspring with them. Okay, and their offspring with them. We're going to have offspring in the kingdom. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not destroy nor hurt, nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord. Which, the animals are not going to attack, and we know animals attacking Israelites, man. We're going to have spiritual power on a level to where we're at one, okay, with the beasts of the field, okay. All right, our children will be able to play with the animals and be safe, All right, which Isaiah 11 goes into that, okay. Isaiah 11 and 6, it says, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. Going to show you the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth. Because how does it, wolves and lambs, leopard, okay, goats, man, okay, all right, they shall not build and another inhabit. Okay, we just read about having children, little ones, okay, All right, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them, and the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And the sucking child, okay, which means a baby that's still on their mother's breast, okay, still drinking breast milk, okay, going to show you again, we're going to have children in the kingdom, shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den, okay, all right, so our children will be able to play around with animals, okay, animals that are considered vicious and poisonous, okay, that those creatures are not going to harm our children. They're going to be able to enjoy the earth, okay. All right, they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea, man. Okay, the earth. Okay, all right, the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth. All right, now going to Genesis chapter 35, verse 10, it says, which is, well, I'm gonna go to verse 9. It says, and Yahweh appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Pandanaram and blessed him. And Yahweh said unto him, Thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel, which Israel means is Yasharal in the Hebrew. He is a prince of power, okay, or in other words, he is a son of God, okay, or a son of the power. All right, it says, and Yahweh said unto him, I am God Almighty. Um, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins, and the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. Okay? All right, so the promises that were promised to Abraham, the oath that was sworn unto Abraham, was for Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, Jacob, okay, and the Israelites. That's why after the Exodus, okay, and after the 40 years in the wilderness, the Israelites are the one who went into the land and obtained it, okay, and conquered the land. That was a fulfillment of the promises that the Lord made with their forefathers. That's why Ishmael didn't have a part to do with that. That's why the Midianites and the children of Keturah, okay, which the Midianites, okay, not the Medes, but the Midianites, all right, the people that Jethro came from, okay, that's why they didn't go into the land, okay, all right, they had their own land. Okay. All right. That's why Esau didn't have a part to do with that. Okay. It was only for the Israelites. All right. Now, the point of this promise is that the multiplying of the seed of Jacob. Okay. As the stars of heaven. All right. Being a nation and a company of nations as at this day. Okay. When you look at the 12 tribes sign, all right, it's all nations mentioned there: Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Cuba. All right, Central America, all right, and all the countries there of Mexico, okay, the different Native American tribes, the Seminole Indians, all right, Brazil, South America, that area of Asher, Benjamin, the West Indies. Those are nations, man, okay? And in the kingdom, we're gonna be such a large nation that each one of the 12 tribes, again, in a much more perfect and abundant fashion, is gonna be as a nation in and of itself. Okay, all right. And it says, "And kings shall come out of thy loins," which I wanted to bring this out. Which this promise was fulfilled to a degree. With the house of David, King David, and all the kings, of Judah and Israel. Okay, so on and so forth. All right, but hey, our seed, we're all gonna be royalty one day, man. Okay, all right, which we're royalty now, but it's gonna be manifested that hey, we are a nation of kings and priests and princesses and noble women, man. Okay, noble men and women. That it's gonna be manifested, man. Our seed in the kingdom are gonna be born into an inheritance, born into royalty, man. Okay, born with the proverbial golden spoon, not silver spoon, golden spoon in their mouth. Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. This is Isaiah 61:6. It says, "But ye shall be named priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat of the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves." Okay, which we're gonna receive. We're gonna be able to enjoy the abundance of the earth. The heathen nations are gonna bring us their wealth and all the resources that they mine and harvest out of the earth and reap out of the earth to us. Okay, and we're gonna eat and be satisfied and be full, and we're gonna boast ourselves in all these riches. Okay, all right, you know, we're gonna be snooty with it. Okay, all right. Verse 7, it says, "For your shame shall ye have double, and for your confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land, okay, they shall possess the double." Christianity full of shit, man. In one part of the breath, they gonna say, "Oh, well, the earth is gonna be destroyed, and we just gonna be floating around in heaven." Then they gonna say the promises of the land inheritance is for everybody now. What? How does that make sense? How does that make sense, man? All right, it says, "Therefore in their land shall they possess the double, everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, the Lord, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering, and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, the Israelites, with them, and their seed shall be known amongst the Gentiles." Our seed, the seed of the Israelites. Now, granted, the elect are gonna have, Lord willing, we part of the elect. The elect gonna have a different glory and status than the rest of the Israelites. But the seed of Israel as a whole, I mean, it's going every Israelite gonna have status and acclaim. Okay, every Israelite gonna have clout and be known. You know, have an honor about them and their offspring among the people. They're gonna be known. They're gonna be renowned, man. Okay, all they that see them shall acknowledge them. You know, good morning, Your Highness. Good afternoon, Your Eminence. How did you sleep, Your Priestliness? That's how it's gonna be. that oh my God, it says, "All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed." Okay, so everybody's gonna know, hey man, these are the blessed people of the Lord, man. Even in Deuteronomy 28, it tells you, about the tender and delicate woman whose foot would not even peradventure to put her foot on the ground. Okay, which that's going into another precept I had. Okay, you know, all these scriptures, man. Hey man, we gotta meditate on the kingdom. All right, gotta meditate on the kingdom. Okay. Um, Isaiah 61:10, it says, "I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations," man. Okay, so it's going to be a righteous kingdom. Okay, righteousness is going to flourish in the kingdom, and the earth is also going to flourish as a result. Okay, all right. Now Isaiah 60:22, it says, "A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in His time." Okay, all right. So hey, we're gonna have abundant, large, prosperous, fruitful. Okay, all right. Families in the kingdom, noble houses, the noble house of Apostle Tahar, the noble house of Apostle Gabar. Things, I'm telling you, these things gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna happen, man. We're gonna see it, man. We just gotta endure until the end. Okay. Now, this is Isaiah 49:18. It says, "Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together and come to thee. As I live, saith the Lord, surely thou shalt clothe thee with them all as with an ornament, and bind them on thee as a bride doeth. For thy waste places and thy desolate places and the land of thy destruction shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants," which is the point I wanted to get. Okay, all right, we're gonna have so many children. All right, so many little ones. We're gonna be so fruitful that the land itself is gonna be too small to hold us all, to support us all. So we're gonna have to branch out. Okay, and they that swallow thee up shall be far away. Okay, all right, so we're gonna have to branch out. Okay, all right, it says, "The children which thou shalt have after thou hast lost the other, because the wicked of our people gonna die, shall say again in thine ears, the place is too straight for me. Give place to me that I may dwell." All right, so again, we're gonna have to branch out. Okay, after multiplying in the kingdom, setting up the kingdom, we're gonna be so prosperous. We're gonna have to branch out into different lands, parts of the earth, and even to these other planets as well. Okay, verse 21 it says, "Then shalt thou say in thine heart, Who hath begotten me these, seeing I have lost my children and am desolate, a captive, and removing to and fro? And who hath brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. These, where had they been? Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people, and they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders." Okay, which when you go into the NLT, it goes into how they're gonna be carrying our children on their backs, man. Like like that movie 300, or like you see sometimes in these different documentaries and period pieces. The royal children, the royal procession. Okay, all right, the palanquin. That they carry the throne of the king, or they carry the princess, or the prince on their backs. They got the servants carrying them, and the noble, all right, the aristocrat is sitting on a chair or in a chamber by themselves, but they got servants carrying them on the outside. Okay, all right. Now the NLT, it says, "This is what the sovereign Lord says: See, I will give a signal to the godless nations. They will carry your little ones back to you in their arms. They will bring your daughters on their shoulders. Kings and queens will serve you and care for all your needs." Okay, all right. So the heathens, the rulers of the heathens, are going to become our servants. They will bow to the earth before you and lick the dust from your feet. Then you will know that I am the Lord. Those who trust in me will never be put to shame. Okay, there you go, right there, man. All right. "And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their faces toward the earth and lick up the dust of thy feet." They're going to be bowing down and worshiping us, man. Okay. "And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me." All right. So, hey, the water Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bahashim Rakakwadash, man. Okay. All right. Hey, man. Hey, that's all I can say. The water Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bahashim Rakakwadash. Call on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. With that being said, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone, and salutations to the elect. Kwame Asheral in the Bible Ball. Shalom.